Hello.
I'm sharing it from. We're gonna go ahead and share it from the Shy page.
Okay.
I'm gonna tag myself into it. I'm gonna tag you into it. I don't know why I won't get it from my page, but it's all right. And we are going to. Did you get the tag?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome, welcome. Give us a few seconds to work out what's going on here. Normally it doesn't. All right. Okay, I think I worked everything out. I do apologize. All right, all right, all right. We can get started. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. Oh, we got that worked out. Sometimes you think you can have everything worked out in last minute. Something to go just haywire, but it's all right. We'll get started shortly. Go ahead and share, 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 share.
Tell a friend, tell a friend, tag a friend, tag a friend.
Absolutely. Okay, well, welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome to the Sharing Hope and Inspiration podcast, where real stories spark healing, resilience, and change. I am your host, Jim, along with Denise Jackson, our founder of the Shy Foundation. And today we are holding space for a conversation that is often hidden behind closed doors: domestic violence. When most people hear the term, they think of just physical. But the truth is, domestic violence wears many faces. It could be emotional, it could be financial, sexual, even digital. And oftentimes, survivors suffer in silence, unsure of what their experience counts. In today's episode, we'll sit down with Jasmine Coley, a licensed clinical psychotherapist, to break down the silence and uncover the full picture of abuse. From cohesion, control, gaslighting, from stalking to reproductive aggression and threats. This conversation is here to raise awareness, offer support, and remind everybody that you're not alone. So, whether you're tuning in to learn, to heal, to help, we invite you to listen with the open heart, because healing begins with understanding and change starts with the truth. So, with that being said, let's begin. And please help me welcome our special guest, Jasmine Cooley, to the stage.
Hi.
Welcome, welcome,
I'm sorry, Jasmine
welcome.
Cooley.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much for joining us, Jazz. This means so very much to me and the foundation, as well as Jim. You coming from a therapist point of view in reference to domestic violence is something that's much needed. So we welcome you and we applaud you. We thank you so very much for gracing us with your time.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Anything for you too.
Thank
Anything,
you.
anytime. So thank you for this opportunity to join you guys on this platform to educate.
Yes.
And I do apologize for the mispronunciation of your name because I got to get used to your new name. Congratulations on your your wedding, your
Thank
marriage.
you.
I
Thank you. Thank you.
He's married now.
there.
I'm married.
All right, let's get started. Can you start by telling us a little bit about your work and what drew you to addressing domestic violence?
As you said, I am a licensed clinical psychotherapist. I work with mental health every day, whether it's kids or families individually. And right now, I am currently in the hospital. So we are deep diving into mental health at this time. What brought me to wanting to be a part of this platform and bringing awareness to domestic violence, because a lot of people really don't realize the effect and how it applies to us, multiple people every day. I myself experience domestic violence in a way where I didn't even recognize that is exactly what it was. So I do want to be a part of a platform where we can bring more recognition and awareness, to your point, to let everyone know that they are not alone and there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes,
Absolutely.
God. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I just want to remind our viewers at home, feel free to be interactive. You can post your comments in the chat from the Shy Foundation page, and then I'll be able to pull them up if you have any questions or need any clarification on anything we're talking about this evening. Okay, going right into question two. When people hear the word domestic violence, they often think about physical abuse. Can you explain what domestic violence really includes?
And it includes a multitude of things, not only physically, we have emotionally, um, we have sexually, we have, so we got physical, emotional, sexual. I see that you added financially.
Right.
A lot of people like to utilize the word narcissism. It's actually a part of abuse as well. Um, and I think we also have on topic our reproductive part of it.
Yes.
So it's a whole different form, a multitude of abuse.
Okay. Thank you. Would you like to add anything to that, Denise?
No, she hit on everything that abuse entails, but also we have social abuse where that the abuser isolate that person from society.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go into the different types of abuse, um, and one by we have questions based on each one. So let's get into the first one, which is physical abuse. How would you define physical abuse in the context of domestic violence?
I would define it as hitting, threats, any form of unwarranted touching or any effect to that nature. So hitting, punching, kicking, hair pulling, use of objects and weapons, physical restraints, choking, holding you down, preventing you from eating or sleeping, and threatening physical harm. That's all a part of physical abuse.
And that's the one that's most common seen. Everybody thinks you got to have a physical, um, where people can actually see the bruises for it to be considered domestic violence, and so that's why a lot of people get caught up on thinking, well, it's not abuse, he not hitting me, but that's not it. It's more to it.
Just a little background as it relates to physical abuse and how we can also add to is, even if you feel like it's a mutual combat. So if I'm hitting you and you hit me back in those natures, that's still a part of domestic violence, and physical abuse.
Yes.
I'm sorry, guys. Please forgive me. I'm trying to multitask. Great. Okay. What are some warning signs that someone might that show that they might be experiencing physical abuse, even if they're hiding it?
Um, Hiding it is one main one. If someone's it's 95 degrees outside and we have these hoodies outside of these kids because some kind of way their temperature, body temperature is way different from humans. Um, but normally people that hide it, people that isolate, um, people that behaviors change. So any pattern of your behavior that changes, that's a part of, those are just identifiable pieces that we need to recognize and be more aware of. Just someone changing.
Right. I remember like when I was younger, I used to see when a lot more physical abuse was prevalent in my environment. I remember seeing women like put on the sunglasses, hiding a black eye, or if
Yes.
somebody touch them, they jump, they start because they're so used to being abused, and that was their natural reflex. Or they might have bruises going up their arm, and they start making their excuses.
Yeah, I just
Yes. Yes.
actually was watching a show and a lady well within her 40s was saying that they were just playing. You know, we wrestle and tussle like that. Mm, that's not
Mm,
okay. That's not normal,
that's
and
not
that's
okay.
yeah,
That
problem up under the
is
rug.
not okay.
Yeah, that's a form of abuse as well because we like to protect our abuser.
Exactly.
Yeah, they do, but um and it is not even just the spouse that's getting or the partner that's getting abused. It's the children as well. Yeah, that's how it starts when they say, oh, we just playing, or he was just playing, he didn't mean to do it, that he didn't mean to do it, or she didn't mean to do it, or I just failed. The excuses that come along with it. And then you look, and or if you just happen to be, like, say you're in the dressing room and you see people with bruises all over their body. Oh, they didn't mean to do it. They don't want you to go after them for putting all these bruises on them. So,
Yeah,
yeah, the play fight.
Correct.
Yeah, the play fighting is definitely
Correct.
one of the
yeah.
first steps. Don't put
I
your hand
myself
on me. You going to jail.
absolutely thought that because I was tagging back. This is not abuse. This is actually mutual combat. But child, I didn't.
Yeah.
Who wants to get hit?
I do.
Unwarned.
You going to jail. If
You
I got to
Yeah.
going?
be with you, I don't want to be with you. So you going to jail messing with me. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next one, which is emotional and psychological abuse. This is one of those hidden ones, the invisible ones.
And it's
Um,
more interesting because people don't even believe that this exists.
exactly.
Right. Right.
Exactly. Okay, so and being right now, that we're always trying to do a lot of more social emotional competence with our youth. So now like emotions is a big thing, psychological stuff is a big thing. And it's kind of hard to have that conversation with the adult because like right now, social emotional competence is embedded in the curriculum in the school system.
Mhm.
Even in the early childhood curriculum, but we didn't get that growing up. You know what I
Right.
mean? So for you to try to tell somebody, listen, you're being emotionally abused, they can't receive it because they don't know that vernacular. So we have
Correct.
Right.
to be able to, express to them like, hey, this is not okay. They're emotionally abusing you. So emotional abuse can go often go unnoticed. How does this type of abuse affect survivors in the long term?
So emotional and psychological abuse is it looks in the form of insults or it shows up in the form of insults, threats, isolation, extreme jealousy. So it ain't cute for nobody to be all up on you, all up in your business. You have no private space and you have no control over it. That's a part of emotional abuse, extreme jealousy and controlling your behavior. So they want to don't do that. And I don't like girls who have attitudes. I don't like girls who wear ponytails. That's part of emotionally breaking you down to ultimately control you. Some of the things that we can attach to emotional and psychological abuse is name calling, belittling, humiliation, yelling and screaming, controlling what your partner does and what they wear and where they go, isolation from your friends and family,
Mhm.
threatening to commit suicide
Yeah,
if your partner
definitely.
leaves. That's a part of
Yeah.
abuse. Um, threatening to kill your partner and their loved ones or their pets, destroying something important to your partner, gaslighting, manipulating your partner into questioning their own sanity. Now, I want to focus on this word and this term gaslighting because it's used out of content so often because it sounds so beautiful. Don't gaslight me. Don't gaslight me. Let's be clear on what gaslighting is. It's a form of manipulation where this person is actually making you believe that your thoughts and what you actually see, what you
Yes,
smell,
yes, yes.
all of that is not that. They take that away from you. They are manipulating you to believe that the sky is purple when you know it's blue.
Yeah. So what they do, they pretty much impose a false narrative
Mm-hmm.
upon you. And
Yep.
one of the things that I've found out with in working with domestic violence is that there's this one term we call love bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And love bomb is basically when the abuser is buying you gifts, buying you flowers, just
Uh-huh.
showering you with this and showering you with that as a way to say that I'm sorry, just to lure you in more and more. And 2, 3 days later, the abuse happens again.
Yep. And they
Yeah.
snatch it away. They take it away. So
They
that's a
just
part
take everything
of
away.
love.
They just take it
Not
away.
stop, but
So we
everything.
we also use this term called Darvo. And
Mm,
Darvo is like denial attack, reverse action, and offender. So pretty much it's like you're trying to deflect.
mm-hmm.
You're making the victim feel like they are the abuser
Yep.
and you are the victim.
That's actually a piece of another term that we abuse in our
Yes,
world is narcissism. Because that's
exactly.
actually a piece of that. Yes, ma'am. That is
Yes.
absolutely a piece of that. So, and emotional abuse is also blaming your partner, to your point, to like
Mm-hmm.
being the victim. I'm the victim. You're the
And you're
abuser.
the abuser. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's a whole psychological warfare that most people experience, but not able to really connect that this is a part of abuse because in our world, we want to make people that we love what? Happy,
Mm.
right? But what we need to realize is if it takes away from our happiness, this is not healthy. So trying to really
Exactly.
find that balance opposed to just giving, 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 and then fall into this arena of abuse where you're being emotionally and psychologically abused and manipulated.
Right. Thank you.
Well, we already touched on some of the next question, but just a quick recap. Uh-oh, where you go? All right.
I'm here.
why why she take a little break? Oh, there she go. uh, we touched a little bit on the next question, but just give me a quick synopsis of what are some common tactics abusers use psychologically to control their partners. Like we said, the joking. Give me some more. Give me some more.
The isolation. So I don't like what you wearing. You ain't going out of the house like this. If you leave me, I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna go to the park and off myself. If you
Mm-hmm.
leave me, I'm going to expose you. I'm gonna call your family and tell all your business.
That's a big one. That's
Yes.
a big one. Yes, and
Clock.
then
Yes.
yeah,
And
that
they also play the blame game. As we
Mhm.
said earlier, they blaming you for what's going on when it's actually you.
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
know, they blaming you and then they threaten and they intimidate you. They just do a whole lot of things.
And it's
they
not.
tell you a terrible mother and
Oh yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
Well,
I've
can I
heard.
reverse that? Because I wanna throw something out there just to kind of give
Mm-hmm.
opposite opposing side of that. I'm your mother. I'm your daddy.
Oh,
That's
Yes,
your sister.
yes, yes.
That's your sister. That's your brother. That's your uncle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in our culturally in our households, we don't do enough talking about these things. So this is the forms of emotional abuse which we never was able to identify that was happening
Yes,
in our households. Not just
yes.
person, that we bring into our circle. It's people that are already there that's planting those seeds.
let me ask you guys something a little because I've read a couple of different articles where they bridge domestic violence, because oftentimes when we think about domestic violence we're thinking about our partner, our spouse, whatever. But then some articles that I've read have just what made me think about is what you just said. They bridge family violence in there. So when you said I'm your mother, I'm your this one, you're that one. So is domestic violence solely under the umbrella of some type of romantic relationship, or is just as domestic as the whole family? You
It's
know,
the whole family because you got to think when we say domestic violence, we're not just speaking in terms of intimate partner violence. We're talking about family violence.
See, that's what we don't talk enough of. So we're thinking, oh, we're just talking about relationships. No,
No,
your
no,
mother,
there's family violence as well.
brother, it could be your uncle, your cousins, the
Exactly.
as a
And
whole. So
understand that's where the seed is planted. That's where the foundation starts. You don't
Yeah.
wake up and be in a relationship and just be like, oh, I'm going to be domestic today. No, no, no.
Yeah.
These are learned behaviors. These are taught behaviors.
Yeah.
Our
And it's
environment.
pretty much what we spoke upon last week, Jimmy, now when we say it was learned behavior. Because if abuse is all you see,
Mhm,
then 9 times out of 10 it's all you know. So so it becomes your normal.
mhm. It
It
is normal.
becomes normal.
It is normal, and that's why it's really hard to recognize.
Yeah.
Even to drop another jewel, that was me. Like
to drop,
balance is how we solve problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but in addition to that, violence is how I survive, right? If they
mm,
hit you, what they tell you, if they hit you, you hit their ass back, right?
Correct.
Don't come home telling me you done got your ass whooped because I'm gonna whoop your ass,
Yeah.
right? So these seeds are already planted. So for me, psychologically, um, violence was how we solve
Hmm.
problems.
and
Right?
ladies and gentlemen, that's what you've now met the author of Talk Your Shit. She getting
She's
comfortable.
talking her shit.
She getting
So
comfortable.
just being aware, because that's where it starts.
All right, guys. So we're gonna move along to our next set of questions, which fall under sexual abuse, and this is one that a lot of people experience. And some people it's sexual abuse, but they feel like it's some kind of how do you say fetish or you
Duty,
know
your duty.
yeah. So
Mm.
um, let's get into that. Okay. So what are the misconceptions people have about sexual abuse within relationships?
Um,
One of the misconception is when it comes to sexual abuse, a lot of us tends to think that because you in a relationship
mm,
and you say no
hmm
and that person still go forward, that is not sexually you're not being sexually abused because this is your partner, this is your husband, this is your wife. But no means no. And it's not always somebody that you don't know.
that's true.
It's the person that you know, the one that you're living with, the one that you're sleeping with, that you're providing food for. So that's the biggest myth, that it does not happen within your personal relationship.
And breaking down what sexual abuse actually is, the clarity of it is unwanted sexual contact.
Come on now.
So to my sister's point, unwanted. No means no.
Mm.
Another misconception is aren't men are mostly the abuser, but they can be abused too,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
I think that we can add that into the jar of misconceptions when we are attaching that to sexually abusing. Um, Forcing your partner to terminate a pregnancy. I don't want no kids. I'm gonna send you the money and you're gonna go get an abortion, right? That's a part of sexual abuse. You're taking my rights from me, right? Persistent unwanted comments about your partner's body and
Yes.
or their sexuality,
Mhm.
unwanted kissing, unwanted touching, threatening or coercing your partner into unwanted sexual activities. The the word I don't think we can say on the live, or attempting to fill in the blank.
You talking about grape?
Yes, I didn't know.
Grape.
I didn't know we could use it.
Nah, you can't use it, but grape. We're gonna say grape.
Great,
There's no
that's
way
it.
around it. Grape.
Great, yes. And preventing access to conceptions. Oh, I can't use condoms. They break me out. I don't think we should use them. You won't use this if you love me, right? That's a part of
Mm.
sexual abuse.
That leads into them trapping you so many other ways. You know what I think about when I think about sexual abuse, because I'm a visual person, and one of the movie scenes I think about Color Purple,
Mm.
Right.
and
What did
and
he
how,
do? He just climbed on top of me
yeah, it feel like he going to the toilet on me.
like
Like
the bathroom.
she did not want to be intimate with this man, and he just used her as like she was a prop.
She was a doormat, baby.
But the
Like,
most interesting thing is her dad set that
a-
platform.
absolutely.
Exactly.
I think actually the movie The Color Purple shows you all the types of abuse. Like it was
Hmm.
Absolutely.
across the board, and for her to be so resilient in it, but it was like the craziest thing about it was how common that was for especially women of color. Um, like it was okay, like everybody upheld it. That's just how things were. And no, it's not how things are supposed to be. If you don't feel comfortable and you don't want to be intimate with that person, it's your right to say no, I don't want to. I don't want to make a connection. If you're in your bedroom and you could be with your husband of 50 years, and if you say I don't feel like it tonight, and he victimizes you and make you feel like you have to do it, and well, at 50 he probably ain't doing no more, but you get what I'm saying. Right to say no, I don't want to, and they still
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
they try to make you feel guilty behind it. That's sexual abuse, and I
And
think we just need to start
your
putting a
emotions.
label on things.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Just
Okay,
become more aware. Awareness is important. I feel like once we are able to get this information out, it is the people, our watchers, and our responsibility to be more accountable and responsible for this information.
you absolutely right, Felicia.
Exactly.
Said guilt causes people to conform to sexual abuse, and
Yes.
you be mad afterwards, not only because they don't made you do something you didn't want to do, but it was terrible anyway.
Oh,
It's a lose lose.
trash.
Um, I think making and telling you the other people you've been with did it before me. Oh yeah, yeah,
Uh,
that line, because if it was the truth, they'd still be with them people.
They'll still be with them, baby.
They lying, they lying.
Or they lying.
And it'd be some. And half the time it'd be some old crazy stuff they want to do, like for instance, the women. Well, I don't know why they're allowing themselves to be put in these positions, because they're actually taking a flight to go over to the people going to Dubai and letting the people defecate on them. Like, even though they going over there getting paid for it, like it's people over here doing that now, and they're not getting compensated for it. Like, why would you allow that? Like, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But
yes,
for them to like to smack you, put a choker on you, and just humiliate you for the sec,
It's abuse.
they're getting off. That is
It
craziness
is abuse.
to me. Is craziness. I don't know what it is to everybody else, to each his own, but to me that is just crazy. Like, to be demean, like I don't personally get off on that. I ain't finna do
Mm-mm.
it. And if you with me, baby, you gonna get what you get. So if you talk about it, that's on you, because you knew when them clothes came off, what it looked like. Cause I ain't cutting the lights off. You
But with the person allowing that type of thing to happen, it goes back to them already being psychological or emotionally abused.
Correct. And understand
They're
that the
already
foundation
abused
was already there.
psychologically or emotionally. So for them, again, it is the norm. They're
Hmm.
used to being mistreated. They're used to being treated as such. So for them, it's like, okay, if it's going to happen, why not get paid?
Correct.
So
Correct.
that's their mindset because they're lost mentally.
Yeah, that's true.
well, y'all need to come up out of that because I don't like it.
Now that you have the information, you must do something with it.
Come
Ooh.
on now.
All right.
Come
Why is
on.
it important to talk about consent, even in learn long term partnerships? Like I said, you with him 50 years and he's still trying. He trying it. Like, girl, that pension ain't worth him demeaning you. But
It's not. It's not.
y'all can
It
talk
is
about it.
not. It is not.
No means no.
No means no. If I don't feel like it, I don't feel like it.
And guess what?
Period.
If you
Period.
used to feel like it, it's okay to say I don't like it anymore.
Mhm.
Correct.
When you know better, you do better. And what make used to make me tick then don't make me tick now. So please don't do that. And if they don't abide by that, then guess what? You have to make some changes.
And
Right.
understand that this message is for both men and women.
Men,
Yes.
women, non-binary, binary, crisscross,
Oh, umbrella.
applesauce, families, everybody.
It's across the
Yes.
board, baby. No discrimination because
Yes.
domestic violence does not, abuse does not discriminate.
At
Absolutely.
all.
All right, we're gonna go into one of the newer ones for me. Like I said, the last time we got together and had a talk, I didn't realize how prevalent financial abuse was.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna go into that. That
Yeah.
one, I mean, in hindsight, I knew about it, but it's like I said, we're putting labels on it now. So, can you explain how financial abuse works and why is it such a powerful tool?
So financial abuse is common now. It's a common tactic used by the abuser to gain power and control in the relationship. The form of financial abuse may look like I'm paying all the bills. You know, I do everything. I'm going to do, and I'm going to take care of everything. And I need for you to do what I tell you to do. It's a form of control. It limits the
Mm-hmm.
victim to assets to anything, access to assets, right? So I'm the only person that has a bank card. You have to come through me for money.
Mm.
When you come through me for money, you have to tell me what you need it for, and I have to approve it, right? So it's a form of control to get the person to comply, and they reduce the accessibility to the family finances as well. The
Right.
one
Right.
card, the one credit card, everything is in my wallet, and you have to come through me.
Mm, you about to piss me off.
Ah, that's
And
straight from the heart.
one other means of financial abuse also is when that person is um being in control of all of the finances, but yet he's not contributing to anything. He's not paying any bills. He's
Mm,
not paying for childcare. He's not doing any of those things. And you, as a victim, are still left to try to figure out how am I going to oversee these expenses when
right,
him or her have taken all of the money.
correct.
I'm the head of the household. You gotta abide by me. Okay, well, let me ask you this. Well, let's talk. Let's sit here for a minute. Let's sit in this because I'm trying to work through some stuff. Um, because just because one partner may be the one employed or bringing home the money, it does not mean that they're financial abusing the other partner because they don't. It's how they go about um doing things, and it's the manipulation piece that plays a part in the abuse.
I can tell
Because
you what it look like if you need for me to give you some identifiable pieces.
but what you here for?
So they prevent you from being employed. Maybe you don't need no job. You
Mhm.
just stay and watch the kids, right? So no job. And or if you go get a job, you lose it or you have to quit it, right? They limit you from working hours. You can't go to no 40 hour a week job. You can only work 10 or 15 because I need you back at the house doing what I need for you to do. They take your paycheck. Give me your money. Ooh, and this circles back to culturally where that paycheck goes in the household when that man does all the working. And is this a part of financial abuse? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, refuse to let you claim benefits, that tax money. Right?
Well, everybody
I'm
financially
gonna
abused
claim
then.
them children. I'm the one gonna claim them children. Right?
Mm.
Um, take children's savings and birthday money.
My God.
We gonna take this, right? And refusing to let you have any access to the bank accounts. So those are identifiable economic and financial abuse.
When I think on this, I think about prostitution,
Ah,
pimps and
Mhm.
prostitution. I think about that.
okay.
I also think about and we're gonna touch on this later, but I think about cults.
Mm.
I
So
think about um, and I hate to say it. I hate to say it.
do
But
you?
Say it.
I hate to say it because when I say cults, I also think about polyamorous uh some polyamorous situations also, not the ones that work for them, but the ones where that one partner has many partners and he's controlling, he's keeping them, he's demeaning them and keeping them for his financial gain. A lot of times when they say, while they're in this relationship type, they's like, well, I have one to do, they all work and it just helps for the household, but then you got that one person controlling everything.
And
And
that's a little bit of sexual abuse as well, because
but a lot of times there's not one without the other, and
I
so
feel
I just it just makes me think like on that term of that. But I really think about prostitution a lot because of pimp. They do control all the money, and I really think about cults too because when they go into these situations, they give up everything.
mm,
They give up everything to be part of this community. And you have one person making all the decisions for you. And if you don't go along with what their beliefs are, then guess what? Not only is it going to be psychological abuse, emotional abuse, but physical abuse is going to come down. And you already ain't got nothing. You can't make a move unless they tell you to. You can't buy anything.
But
Um,
the psychological abuse and the emotional abuse is already planted.
talk it.
It's already planted. So that's why they allow themselves to conform to whatever whomever this person desire them to be and or do because they're already damaged. So again, they're leaving one abusive situation and they're going into another, but for them, again, it's the norm for them. It's the norm. So Jazz, let me ask you this question and we'll go back.
yeah,
What do you think about an individual that's being controlled by money, and it's not that the money has been taken from them, but the money has been given to them, and then they allow themselves to be open to whatever this person chose to expose them to?
they
And I
getting pulled
appreciate
out.
that, my sister, because that's just like the bringing the paycheck home. You ain't did nothing for the paycheck, and I'm bringing you all the money, and I'm dispersing it how I need to, right? And if I'm not paying the bill, I'm not paying the bill. So the financial abuse is I'm doing all the work, I'm bringing you the money, and I'm controlling this. And the person that the abuser, which is the person that's, I mean, the victim that is actually bringing in that paycheck and doing all the work, the only gain is me controlling your emotion, your finances, and your mind,
Mhm.
right? So I don't see it. I see it both ways, I guess. So you don't have to physically be that person who actually doing the work. Oh, I go to work, I'm going to control this household. You could just be the person sitting at home waiting on the check to come. And then I'm going to
Mhm.
tell you what we're going to do with it and not going to do with it. I'm so happy you brought this check because I want this nice bag. But baby, the lights ain't paid, but we're going to use this check. If you don't want to hear my voice and you want to stay married, we're going to use this check on this, right? And you just
Mhm.
go work and for the next one, right?
Okay.
So yeah.
Hey, I ain't paying nothing. I don't like getting up.
But
Okay, what
often
is
enough, it
okay?
happens.
Yeah,
Often
I
enough,
know. I've seen it. It,
this is
it's
real.
it's some people right
It's
now. I'm looking
listen,
at to do it right now.
Mm,
when you see somebody just all this, give it here.
right.
I
You
see
might
it.
want to check on your friend. If they got somebody that's always doing this, call them and check on them because they need help.
Blink two times. Blink
You
two
need
times.
help.
What are some practical steps someone can take if they're financially trapped in an abusive situation?
Hmm. Save, right? Secretly save. You got to do some sneaky stuff, right? Um, it's hard, right? So most people that are in abusive situations, they don't recognize that they're in it, right? And if we're trying to
Correct.
convince them that they need to get out of it, that's the more they want to be in it. So for me to say, hey sis, you're being financially abused and controlled, you need to get out. It sounds good, right? Because that's what we would like to happen, but a lot of times that's not realistic because if they're controlling everything, I don't know what my life is going to look like after this, especially if I'm living a certain type of lifestyle,
Yeah.
right? So even if I tell someone that I'm financially being abused, I would only say save. You can only put a couple of dollars to the side, maybe have you that trusted person that you can kind of help slowly and gradually get you out of that situation. But if you're in the chokehold, we got to recognize it and sometimes just moving quickly on it, it needs to happen. You got
Right.
that. So make sure you got a solid
Yeah.
village because this
And
requires a solid village.
yeah. And sometimes when you're being abused financially, that person knows what you make every week. They already know. So even with you, whether your check is going direct deposit or you having to go cash it, they're gonna count that money to make sure it is what it is. So
Mm,
if they're giving you $50 out of whatever, you have to take that $50 and put it to the side, baby. Every time that person give you $50, put it to the side. Put up your little stash. And as Jess
mm.
said, give it to a friend. Let that person hold on to it.
Give it to a real friend.
A
Oh,
real
that's what
friend.
I said.
Real
You
friend.
got to
I
have a solid village, a
taking
solid village.
dollars
Yes. Yes.
and getting an extra bowl of at the hookah joint with my $50. Um, I'm thinking back to Color Purple
Oh,
again.
that seafood bowl. You want to get a seafood bowl on my $50, so we have a problem.
When Silly was getting ready, was trying to leave, and she had her couple of dollars in her knitting case. She saved a couple of dollars because
Mhm.
she planned on leaving.
It
Um,
ain't no escaping.
I've encountered people who like they would their partner would give them a certain amount of money for groceries or to get stuff for the kids, and they would penny pinch, and it took them a long time, but they would penny pinch and they would coupon, and the savings they took from that they would put that away. They would get like a separate account and make sure the mail went to a friend house and not their house because they didn't want anybody to find out about it. But
Exactly.
they saved, they penny pitched, and if it was just even enough for a bus ticket,
Mhm.
they did that to get away. So if yeah, most definitely they're scared and unsure of what tomorrow holds. So they often stay, but you have to definitely put a plan together, and you got to have a circle of support. You have to have a strong circle of support to come up out of your situation, because like they said before, a lot of this is learned behaviors, and well, my mom dealt with it for years, or my grandmother dealt with it for years. But if you don't want that to be your faith, if we want to cut these generational ties, you're going to have to do something different, and sometimes it's going to have to be planning, sometimes it's going to have to be uncomfortable, sometimes you're going to have to buy them generic toiletries and put the other little pennies to the side,
Hmm.
so you could, make to do something better. But I just urge you, if that this is your situation, um, if they find out that you had, like, don't, if you open up a separate bank account, don't open up the bank account in the same branch that their account is in.
Exactly.
Sometimes the teller will act, they might go up to the teller and be like, okay, which account you want to see? They're like, which account? What you mean? It's another account. And then they find out about your stash. So just, just be very strategic
Very
in how you
creative.
save, so that it doesn't, that financial abuse turn into physical abuse. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, um,
Yeah. To
any
your
more?
point, all of this is intertwined. So understand that these it's layers to all of this.
It's
I
levels to
think
it. It's
There's levels to it, baby.
physical sticks
Yes.
out more right for us because physically, if I can get you physically and mentally, I've already got you, right? I can get you to do anything, any of these other things. So being aware of physical abuse, not just all, be aware of all of them, but let's just be very, very, very in tune on what physical abuse is and emotional and psychological abuse. Because if someone has your mind, they have you, right? And there's people out here that preys on that opportunity. So if you're not allowing someone to physically and or emotionally or psychologically abuse you, a lot of these other things could potentially be avoided, right?
Right.
Because if you can't do all of those things, I'm not going to give you my money, right?
Mm.
If you're not able to do all those things sexually, you're not going to be able to manipulate me to do things I don't want to do because my no is a no.
Mm,
So
Amen.
just being aware of those main two, or I guess because they put emotional and psychological together, those main three, that's very important of just recognizing those forms of abuse because it happens every day.
oh, wait a minute.
Yes,
Let's circle
God.
back to sexual abuse right quick. I just thought about something. What about those partners that are seemingly very attractive and they're with some I call them the low self-esteem crowd because for several reasons. But they, they feel special because, oh, he picked me or she
Mm.
picked me. And normally they're the people that, might struggle in the area of romance, and they just come through, do a couple of little 1-2 steps in the bedroom, and then take advantage of them. They was couch surfing, but now they got them a place to stay. That they're not gonna take you out. They ain't gonna tell their homeboys about you. But in that house, they gonna do what they need to do because you putting a roof over their head. You giving them all your money. You're feeding them, but they still find enough energy to still put you down and keep you down because they're controlling you.
Because
Mm.
that individual is being abused on every spectrum. They're being abused across the board.
Yep.
But
And
that person could want someone to love them so they're
mhm.
allowing themselves to be abused, not realizing or recognizing what it is.
And in reverse of that, most people feel like they can fix somebody, right?
Come on.
So if
Yes.
I can fix you, I'm allowing all these things to happen because the light is you're gonna get it. You're gonna change. We fixing with the hope of change, right?
Mm.
But understanding that these people are who they are, and it's not your job to fix, right?
Oh, you told me
Amen.
that before. You told me. I just want to say to the viewers out there, we have a lot of people viewing, but outside of the Shy page. If you want to be a part of the chat and be interactive, please join on through the Shy Foundation page and comment there so that we can receive your comments. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to our next topic, which is verbal abuse, which we all on seen, heard, we all heard it before.
So
Verbal
verbal
abuse.
abuse is exactly what it is. Insults, the attempt to scare, the attempt to isolate, the attempt to control. It is often a sign of it's a part of that physical abuse, right? When you
Yes.
said the down and the humiliation, it's a
Mhm.
part of emotional abuse, right? Because we want to make you feel real bad. And it's a part of, and I know this is not our topic tonight, but manipulation. All of those are intertwined when we talk about verbally abusing someone. The yelling, the loud talking. Oh, I can't stand the loud talking. The the trigger words, the insults, right? The aggressiveness of it. That's a part of verbally abusing someone. Down talking them is a part of verbal abuse.
Oh, listen here. It makes me think of the comment. You should be happy. I'm with you. Listen, be without me then.
Please go, 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 go.
Please be without me.
Quickly, quickly, scurry quickly.
Because that's one of the most demeaning comments I've ever heard.
Or
I
nobody else gonna want you.
Yeah,
But
I've
we,
heard it before.
Yeah,
Like, you should be happy I'm with you. Well, why you with me then?
yeah,
baby, I'm I'm the prize.
yeah.
My presence is a present. Do you
And
know
you
why?
gotta say it. And I
No,
think, well, I know for a fact for us when it came to Shy, it was verbal abuse. It wasn't physical until the very end when he realized he had lost control. But it was
mm,
verbal abuse. And it, with her having to deal with it and her not wanting to share what was going on with her, with us, in fear that we would do something,
she will be
she kept it to
unalive.
herself. So she was always drained physically. She was always physically drained. And I could always tell when she went to that boy house and came home. Because when she
Yeah,
came back, whether she was there for 2 hours or 8 hours, she came back physically drained.
yeah, yeah.
So
So,
that verbal abuse is something serious.
Yeah, and it
absolutely.
connects to so many different things. I mean, because
Yeah.
if I can break you down with my words, that's why people get
Mm-hmm.
now.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the culture of spirituality. I know that's one of our points, but words mean everything. So whatever you speak out is what people believe. So verbal abuse is very powerful as well.
Okay, so why do you think verbal abuse is often dismissed or minimized by outsiders? Like, people say, well, if it don't apply to you, just leave it alone. Or, remember, sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt us. No, words hurt.
They hurt,
Words, words,
and
they
especially
hurt.
when it comes from someone that we
It's
they
like
hurt,
you throwing
especially
an
when they come from
invisible rock.
someone we trust,
Absolutely.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I could remember like hearing stuff and it will play over in my head over and over and over again, and to a point where I'm embodying what was said to me. And then I had to wait, girl, you a lie. That no, no, we're not thinking that. So, like I said, kids now, they
But
understand
let's
words
go
hurt.
back.
Yes.
For us, it was we were taught
Hmm.
sticks and stones may hurt you, but words never hurt. Words do hurt.
Words do hurt. They hurt.
They hurt.
They do.
Absolutely. But understand where it rooted from, right? In a household where verbal abuse is normal,
Mm-hmm.
the only thing I have to give to the world once I get older is that type of abuse, right? And receive
Mm-hmm.
it. Because sometimes, to your point, Gemini, words don't hurt. They do. However, if it feels mutual and or if it's deserving, you stupid, right? Oh, well, yeah, that was dumb. So I embody that actual title, right? So it's foundational. All this stuff starts, these are seeds that are planted and then they're watered.
Yes.
Felicia, I understand what you said. Words depend on who said it to you. You're right, because I honestly don't pay attention enough. So if it's somebody close to me, it absolutely it'll hurt my feelings. But
Tear you
it
up.
but listen, if I don't know you, and I had read the five agreements. No, I'm sorry, the four agreements. I'm sorry, I put five on there. And one of them is not taking things personal. And
Mm.
on my journey of kind of calming myself down, because I used to be a wild card, I realized, um,
Used to be? Is that all? That's
I
on
mean,
you?
it's there,
He
but
working on Jim
I'm
working on himself.
working on it. But I realized
It's
that
manageable.
it's your problem, not mine. And
Mhm.
sometimes we don't realize what other people or other experiences that people have that may have caused them to say or react in a way that they're doing. And so I don't take what doesn't belong to me.
And
So
understanding hurt people hurt people.
yeah.
So
So I'm not gonna take on that if it's so if it's for somebody I don't know, some Karen in the street or a co-worker, mostly co-workers, because I don't care about them. But like if it comes from my close family, then yeah, it's gonna hurt a little bit.
Right.
It's gonna have
Right.
a little sting
well,
to
I guess
it.
my question would be, right? What would be the difference between a coworker and a family member and what they say, right? Not the fact that they don't care, that you don't care about one or the other. They're both human, right? So how do we be affected or become more affected by what's going on with the family member? Let's just say who is the person who is just not connected, right? And generationally, this is how their form of communication is to verbally abuse someone, because hurt people, versus a coworker who has that same type of background, and their response is hurt people as well. Why is there a difference?
My interaction with you is contingent on uh money. So I'm not getting paid to babysit your emotions at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these feelings right here in this office, and you could let HR figure it out with you because I'm finna go back to doing my job, and I'm not going to let your verbal abuse affect me financial in terms of financial abuse. So I'm gonna go about my little merry way. I'm gonna leave it right there because you're dealing with
But,
something that's beyond me. So I'm not gonna, like I
but
said, I'm
what
not
I'm
gonna
saying
take
is,
something that belongs to me.
so my question is to that is, so you handle it accordingly, right?
Right.
Not so it still affects you because you handle it.
But I don't pay attention enough. I keep telling you that.
Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah,
sit with you.
my walk away game is real strong these days. I've been working on me. Um, because that verbal abuse can lead to financial abuse is gonna cause me to be physically abusive. So I'm just gonna leave it right there.
Okay. Good. Good. Good.
Right.
Good. Good. Good,
Good.
Jim.
Say
Good.
less.
Cause I don't know if y'all gonna come pay that bill money for me.
I
So I'm
think
gonna
we should
just
keep that, but we'll
like
process that later.
we're gonna move along for you trigger me. All right. So next
I
next is digital
think
views.
we should debunk that, but not right now.
We can promote that later off camera. So getting into digital abuse, what I talk to my students about is cyberbullying. With so much going on online, we live out loud now. Everything's online. How are
Mhm.
abusers using technology to control and monitor their victims? And it's not just social media. I'm gonna tell you now. I learned recently the
Mm-mm.
abuse is not just social media when it comes to technological. So, but I'm gonna let you guys comment on it, and then I'm gonna circle back with some of the stuff that I've realized over
So
it.
digital abuse is constantly demanding to look through your partner's phone, monitor their emails, their text messages, posting harmful information. So that little information where people jump on social media and fake cry, but we got story time, so we got to tell all the business and how it happens.
Right.
That's a part of digital abuse. Or just that last couple or recent couple who the toxic relationship where they were exposing
Yes.
each other live, and it just got way out of hand and it
That
went
was
to the
crazy.
left. That's part of digital abuse,
Abuse. Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Posting
Yeah.
pictures,
Mm.
um, threatening texts, all those things are
Posting
part
medical
of
records. Posting medical
Yes,
records.
yeah, medical
your
records.
medical
And then
records.
sometimes the abuser would pretend to be the victim and is on
Mhm.
that person's social media page posting all kind of stuff as if it was that person, just so now nobody wants to deal with it because you said this and you said this, and You know,
You
everything
know,
that I've told you, you're putting it out there, and they're led to believe it's that person when actuality it's the abuser doing it. And that's his way or her way again of trying to isolate that person from other people.
Mm-hmm.
that's correct.
So it definitely happens.
And it's more scarier now to your point, Gemini, that it's happening younger, right? So
Yes,
this type
yes.
of digital abuse is happening younger. Back in my days while I was getting degreed, it was called happy slapping, right? So
Mm-hmm.
What?
people would video
Happy slapping.
happy slapping. So it's a part of digital abuse, right? These fights and things where people are being humiliated and embarrassed, and it's being recorded. That's actually
Oh,
called
okay, okay, okay.
happy slapping. So that's a part of digital abuse as well, and it's happening so often.
One type of abuse that I think about, um, we give so much access.
Hmm.
We got the FaceTime, we got the cameras all throughout the house, and even so much, your abuser, they're watching you.
Mm,
They're stalking you through the cameras. Even so much so that
mm.
a lot of times when they
That's
partner might
deep
get
now.
the road, they might go to prison, they might go to jail, and they still controlling their victims
Yes.
from the jail cell. They're watching the cameras, they watching them sleep.
Actually, an episode about that.
Huh?
Yes.
They
Yeah,
did what? What'd you
that was
say?
actually an episode, and I was agreeing with.
Oh,
That was
okay.
an episode on a show
Oh, the guy
where,
from
to
them.
your point, where the
Yeah,
prisoner.
yeah, absolutely. But I know one in real
Yep,
life.
love and
But
life.
still, it's crazy. We have to limit
Me
the
too. I just
we have to limit the access. That's crazy. It used to be, oh, he's cute. He just, he watching me sleep. No, it's
Oh
not.
no, ma'am.
no.
No, it's not. No, it's
That's
I
not.
don't even I don't even want to
that's
wake up and
me.
you standing over me.
It's not. And now
I
we
don't
have
want
the
to wake up and you look at me in my face.
Right, love you dearly, but
now you got the camera that follow you. They taking the pet cams and they follow
Yes.
people around the house or take me with you
Yeah.
wherever you go. Um, just because they want that control. They
Now, can
don't
I ask
trust.
you a question?
Yeah, I'm listening.
So, how do we separate control and fear from each other, right? Or abuse and fear, as we are talking about these digital cameras and that access? Because some parents feel like the world that we live in, we need to be able to have more access to our loved ones, right? So, is that a part? Do we add that, attach that to digital abuse?
I think anything that's excessive that you don't agree with that it makes you feel uncomfortable can be considered abuse.
Okay.
I mean,
As I said,
given this day and age, with a lot of stuff going on, um, being overly protective can turn into abuse. Sometimes the over worrying, you can that could become a burden and it could turn into abuse because then you start um, emotionally abusing them, making them feel like they have to tell you about their every move. And sometimes we have to, especially when it comes to our kids, we have to give them
but
moments.
the abuser doesn't realize there are. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You were breaking up, so I couldn't tell whether or not you were
I didn't
talking.
say anything. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Say that again.
Go
Go ahead.
ahead, Jazz.
Oh, I'm sorry. So the abuser sometimes doesn't don't even recognize if they're functioning out of fear, though. So if I'm functioning out of fear, I really don't recognize this is a form of abuse. I'm still in fight, flight, or freeze mode.
Mm. And that's when you call your health insurance company and ask them, do you have mental health benefits? Figure that out. You laughing? I'm serious.
Just
I mean, because it's a thin line.
dropping a different POV.
It's a thin
Dropping
line.
a different POV.
I'm just saying, it's a thin line between functioning and abuse. There's a very thin line.
Yeah, very much so.
Correct.
And
Correct. I
if
agree.
you're any
I agree.
question, go ahead and flip your insurance card over and call that 1-800 number, and they can help you know what benefits that you qualify for. Or you could pay out of pocket on Live Health or some other platforms where you don't have to go in the office. They could stream right to you. Um,
I also,
what
I
should
also
people
offer telehealth services as well.
right? Go to the health department. Um, what should people look for if they suspect they're being digitally stalked or manipulated?
I think the things that you brought up, the overbearing, uncontrollable um, actions and or behaviors. When it
Yeah,
becomes overbearing and unwarranted, that's when enough or too much is too much.
yeah. Like the lurking through my call log, trying to see who I've called, who I've text, or um, you go on your social media page just to get onto mine to see who I've been talking to. Like that, just too much.
And
That's
let me
just
tell
too
you about
much.
these text messages y'all be going through. A lot of times y'all go through your partners or whoever's text messages and you're reading, but you're getting it out of context because you don't know how that text was meant. And you're like, well, I know they meant such and such. You can't read emotions like that, okay? You meant it some kind of way. How do you know? Because you were not there in the moment. So
But
stop.
an
And there's
abuser,
no
but an
skill.
abuser doesn't think that way.
Well, that's what I'm talking. I'm speaking to the
Yeah,
people.
the
Their mind
abuser
is
does
already
not think
set
that
when they
way.
read it. Uh-huh.
You go looking for it, you gonna find it.
You're gonna find
Yeah, they
some.
don't think that
So I'm
way.
gonna read it just like it was a mystery case. Aha!
Hmm.
I
Right.
caught you.
Yeah.
So
And I
everything is
many people off of bridges because they misread them text messages. Stop it. Don't put yourself through. You're abusing
but let's
yourself.
respect each
That's
other's privacy and stay
self-inflicted
out
abuse.
of
You're abusing yourself because you're reading something that wasn't for you. Don't do it to yourself.
correct.
Um,
Yeah. And stay out of people's personal business. It's their phone. Stay out of it. It's unwarranted. They want you to know, they'll tell
Yes.
you. And if the
okay,
universe wants you to see it, it'll find you.
it do come
Amen.
out. It does come out. Felice said, "I'm reading everything as a hidden agenda." Right? You. I tell people all the time, you sitting over here and you fighting the invisible war because, baby, I don't know what you're mad about.
Baby. My
You on
girl
the island
Felicia
by
fights.
yourself,
My
and
girl Felicia fights an invisible war. My girl, she fights that invisible war. Everything is a hidden agenda.
I tell you quick,
Seriously.
like you find that because I don't like I tell you, I don't pay attention enough. I don't care enough. So you huffing and puffing, you mad, you like a bull, and I'm like I'm over here chasing
That's
butterflies
like,
in the field because you
okay.
fighting for all by yourself, and you gonna sit there. I'm gonna let you be mad because you shouldn't have did what you did. Okay, let's segue into spiritual and religious abuse. Now, this one could be very, 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 very touchy, because over history has shown us how religion has been used to manipulate, to control, um, masses of people. The mass.
Weaponized.
Well, oh, yeah, weaponized. So, this form of abuse isn't talked about often. Can you explain what? Sorry, wrong question. What does spiritual abuse look like in relationships or families?
Hmm.
Because
Um,
this
I can say
Now,
that
I
it's
just kind
where.
of want to throw this in before I give because that's addiction.
go on throw it
Go
then.
ahead, sis.
No,
Go ahead.
no,
Go ahead, sis. Go
I
ahead.
just feel like that is another form of manipulation and control, where one person's using religion or spiritual beliefs to harm, frighten, or control another. That's what I feel it is, because it's like, if these are my belief, and if you're doing XYZ, then I am going to eventually coerce you into believing what I believe, so I can gain control of your beliefs and your feelings.
I agree with that. Those are my exact words, and I wanted to bring um, forward the new awareness of where everyone is more spiritual now. So we have these crystals, and we have this sage, and we have all of this set up, right? And we're speaking so angelically, and we have our scents and incense, right?
Right.
So if I tell you that you're low vibrational, right? I'm spiritually abusing you because first of all, some most people are not even that interconnected. So what is this, right? And we're abusing it because the little knowledge that we have, we can insert it to your point, sis, to control and manipulate, right? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I we need to take a spiritual bath and just it's something on you. Just say the word and let me release it. Right?
Oh
That's a
God.
part of spiritually abusing someone, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like everyone is looking for some type of connection. Why not spiritually?
Mm. I'm not gonna go there, but what I'm going to say is back to I like to watch a lot of documentaries, and I guess growing up, I thought a lot of people thought like me, behave like, well, not behave like me, but thought like me, had similar backgrounds to me. And then when I grew up and I started realizing that there were different beliefs, faiths, um, I didn't realize how much people were into being spiritual or following these cults. There's a movement now where people are getting away from traditional religions and starting to kind of express themselves spiritually in other ways. Hey, to each his own. If it makes you a better person, that's between you and your beliefs. However, what I don't agree upon is the fact where we pick and choose what we want to use to
Hmm.
manipulate people. Even in terms of Christianity, they will pick and choose certain scriptures, put it together to kind of force their agenda. And well, the
Hmm.
Bible says be fruitful and multiply, and then you have like a big group like the Mormons who sit in here and they're mass producing these children with these young girls, and they're kicking the young guys out of the group because all the older guys want to have 10 and 15
Hmm.
wives and have these big clans of children. And then you have like the newer movements where people are going to live in nature, and they're using you know, spiritual manipulation to say, the Most High wants them to do this, that, and the third, and they're sexually abusing people that are part of their groups. And I don't understand how we got that far with it. But then I realized, a lot of times they covet upon broken people, and and these people they come from broken backgrounds or situations, and they just want to feel whole. And if you're feeding them all this stuff like I can make it better, and God or whoever we believe in is going to bless you and do XYZ to you if you just do this, if you just do that. And so they're going into it believing that life is going to get better, and they're going to follow you and lead you. But that's how we get the Jim Joneses, the drinking the
Right. Right.
because they definitely play on these people's psyches, and all they want to do is have a better life, and they want to make sure that they go into the afterworld, that they're in heaven, or living in the promised land. And we're taking that and we're twisting and turning to our own agenda, and that's what we have to
Hmm.
get away from. I'm a firm believer, like I said, if that's whatever you believe in, if that makes you a better person. But I just always encourage you to do your own research. Even when I, used to be an avid churchgoer, after I would write down the scriptures or, what we read from. Because I don't understand why I don't see that many Bibles in church anymore. Where I will go back and do the reading myself
That's
and make
it.
sure it lines up. And one thing I liked about my pastor when I first started really like embracing um, my religion and spirituality was he was like, never take my word. You go and you
Hmm.
do your own research. And I remember one time he said something that didn't align with what he was talking about. And he was waiting for somebody to come back and fact check him on it. And I learned then, like, I don't ever take what somebody says. I go back and I read it and I apply what applies to me. You know what I'm saying? And I take a deep dive into because what how you interpret something may not be how I interpret things.
Exactly.
But I'm not going to let
Exactly.
your interpretation manipulate how I live my life.
And that's
So,
actually one of the top parts or examples of spiritual abuse, using scripture to shame or guilt you. So if you don't know it for yourself, people pull certain things out to accommodate certain situations. When there was a paragraph before and verses after, right? So obtaining that clarity is very important. So get to know it for yourself.
yeah,
Amen.
most definitely. So the next question is, how can survivors reclaim their faith or spirituality after being abused through it? And a lot of people they turn away from whatever religion they are after they feel like they've been victimized. And some of them take a dark turn, but on the journey to recovery, like you might have seen, you said you're a psychoclinical therapist, like these are your clientele. They don't went
Mhm.
crazy because they don't been abused so much. They don't know how to navigate back to getting to themselves. So how would you encourage them to reclaim their faith or spirituality, or just reclaim themselves after being through something so traumatic? Because when somebody shake you to your soul, abuse you to your soul, like how do you come back from that?
Well, to first we have to recognize who we are, right? And that's the struggle. If we've been built up to be someone or something else as it relates to all parts of this abuse, spiritually, if we're talking about even our Black community, we hold that high, right? So sometimes that the struggle is being able to even go back and self-identify. And what does that look like? Um, that's the struggle, because you have to erase everything that you thought was true and rebuild. And that
Hmm.
takes a lot of work. That takes therapy, therapy, and more therapy. So there's
Come on
no
now.
there's
Come
no
on now.
actual solution
Yeah.
to that type of problem, because you've been built to be this person, right? We put you together to be this person. And once that falls apart and, to your point, hurts you to your soul, I'm lost. I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
So my advice would be seek the necessary help.
Yeah, because we've seen it time and time again where your abuser hides behind the church, or the church
Hmm.
themselves are the abuser.
Yeah.
The person in the pulpit is the abuser, and or the priest is the like you have a whole religion, a whole they have a actual department to deal with sexual abuse from the priesthood. Like, how do you recover? Like, why is this even a thing? You're supposed to be leading people to righteousness, and you're the main ones abusing them. Like, we have to stop allowing our abusers to hide in these families, hide behind the church, the cloth. Like, we have to stop. Abuse is just what it is. It's black.
It
It's
is. It's what it is.
there's no
It's
like
what
we
it
got to
is.
stop hiding them, and we
I
start.
I I can recall telling Shy one time with this boy. I saw him literally abuse his mom and then his sister. And I said to her, if he's abusing, being abusive towards his mom, verbally or physically or however, and his sisters, what make you think he won't do it to you?
You can't change them.
You
It's in.
can't change him.
It's in them. It ain't on them.
It's hello, it's in him.
It's in them.
And she said, well, I'm different. No, you're not.
You know that I was about to say I'm special. No, you're not.
Right. No, you're not.
No, you're not.
And
You're another video.
oftentimes we try to, oh, I could love them past it. No, you can't. It is not for you to do it.
Or her thing was, I'm trying to help him. I'm trying to help him be a better
Mm.
person. You know, he wants to do better. He wants to do it. Girl, he'd have did better before he met you if he wanted to do better. But he's rotten. He's rotten because the entire family is
And the first time
dysfunctional.
you said no, yeah, and the first time it was uncomfortable to you, and you communicated that, and there was no
Yes.
adjustment, no change in your actions.
Well,
That's your
nothing.
cue.
That's your cue.
When people say, they want to change and stuff like that, I think about myself, and I got, well, everybody know, petty as hell. But my pettiness went to another level as to where I was being, I could
Super petty.
super abusive because
Super duper.
listen,
Yes.
when I was unleashed, I was verbally abusive to these set of people. I was definitely digitally abusive because I had receipts and I went live on them. And I still had I have the live. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I still have the live. And what I realized was I didn't recognize that monster in that video.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep it as a reminder of I need to change. I didn't like it. I'm not proud of it. Um, but I couldn't change. Like people, like the response I got off of it, like people started to fear me, and I didn't like that fear. Like some people get off on fear. I didn't like people fearing me. Um, but I realized that a change needed to take place within me, and nobody else could do it. Nobody else could
Mm-hmm.
talk me through it. I had to want it for myself, and I wanted to make that change. So yes, I am now less reactive. Um, but like when I was commenting saying it ain't, it's in them, not on them. Like it's in me. But I'm trying to make a change because those are not the actions I wanted before. Like I don't want that to be embedded in my character. When I leave this earth, I don't
Exactly.
want people to remember that I did those things. So yes, I did those things, but I'm willing to change how I go about doing things now. Like you're never too late to change. And so now I realize that just because I felt wronged doesn't mean that I could like one up a person, because sometimes that's how I felt. Like you go low, I'm going to hell. And and even with that created a whole nother monster. And I was like, I'm like listening, I'm like, I was being abusive, I was being a bully, I was being, and to the point where these people didn't even want to come around because I embarrassed them too much. And I don't want that to spill over in other parts of my life. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want it to spill over into my relationships. I don't want it to spill over into my families, my friendships, the people I hold near and dear. I'm very prominent in the community. I don't want that to be my legacy. So I had to invoke some type of change. And so even if you are the abuser, um, or you've had moments where abuse was prevalent, because we've all done our stuff,
Mm-hmm.
it's never too late for you to change. But like I said, take that insurance card, flip it over, call that number, get that mental help. Like we have to stop, take off the veil and say, hey, listen, it's okay to seek help. It's
But
okay.
but as an abuser, you have to take both responsibility and accountability. Like you have to, and you have to want to make that change. Can't nobody do that for you. You took the initiative and did it for yourself because you wanted to be a better you. You did it for yourself. And
Because
many will not and have not to this day done that.
yeah,
Have
because
not.
the old me would
You
say, I
definitely
did
still
it now, do
awakening.
it again. But I'm not gonna do it again, y'all. I'm not gonna do
You
it again.
know, so
But
here we
that's
are
the
talking about
separation.
we're talking about abuse, and people, I want you guys to understand that it's global. It's across the spectrum. You can be a friend and be abusive to another friend. Just listen to what Jim has just said. You can be abusive to another friend, not really realizing that you are being abusive or you are being a bully. And if you can take it amongst yourself and go back and check yourself, then it's at that point that you are taking the initiative to want to make a change and see a difference in your life. So you can make a difference in others' life.
Yeah.
I would want to counter that, but it, for me, I want to challenge that statement. But for the sake of the podcast,
We'll talk off camera.
I'm gonna do this
Me and you.
because I
Yeah.
just want to recognize that, to your point, the victim can become the abuser, right?
Hmm.
But this is the person, not upon the people that was abusing them. I guess there could be a line set for a hard boundary. Hey, if you want to keep going low, I'm showing you that I can go to hell, right? Because I've
Hmm.
I've allowed you those passes. I was the victim. I was victimized in all these situations. I showed you nothing but kindness, right? I loved you through whatever the situation was. But now when I show up and meet you where you are, do we identify that as abuse? Or am I meeting you on the level to where you can understand? It's just like parents be like, kids don't listen until you cuss them out, right? You can be like, stop, don't do that. That stove is hot. And then when you get with them, they say, oh, you're serious, right?
Well,
So it's
I
what.
think it's like I get what you're saying, but it could have stopped there, and it didn't because I took it further, and that's where I went outside. Like I set the boundaries, right, and I did go to
Mhm.
hell with them, but then I took it further, and I should have left it right where it was at. So
Mm.
that's where the victim becomes the abuser because now it's like, yeah, I got you now, I get you again, and not only let me give you throw you a little bone. That's how I'm gonna get you, a reminder, and I should have just left it there.
Mm.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So I'm
Good for
taking
you.
accountability on that.
Take your
Um,
full accountability to show yourself some grace.
Cause I pay that money every week, so I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it. But yeah. And some
Yeah.
people get off on that. Like I said, I didn't like the feeling of being feared. Like, oh, I'm gonna leave her alone because she batshit crazy. Like, I didn't like that feeling. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I did what I had to do to get those people off my back, but then I took it a little step further where I should have left
Yeah.
it. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
let me
And
ask this
that's
question before we go into our next question prior to us closing. I think we got like two, three more. Anyway, how do you this for you, Jazz? Okay, you an individual, you see this individual being victimized
Mhm.
repeatedly. You see this person being victimized, and I'm not saying in the sense of being punched, kicked, or whatever, but I'm talking psychologically, I'm talking emotionally, and this person is being victimized. But yet, when you make the attempt to say you are a victim, you are a victim because XYZ has been doing ABC to you, but you have become so captivated with all of this that it has become your normal. But when you say to them, this is what's happening, they flip the script and it's like you're now victimizing them because you're telling them what you see. So now
I
you're
would
being labeled
say
as the opposed to the one that actually been the abuser, opposed to the abuser actually been labeled. You as the friend is being labeled because you're speaking upon what you see.
I would say while in this conversation, abuse is just like an addiction, right? Once I'm in it and I've normalized it, some people don't want to come out of it, right?
Hmm.
It works, right? So for you to tell me something different, you are the problem because I have normalized this lifestyle and I'm not ready. So an addict is only ready to recover when they're ready to recover, regardless of how many people they've damaged along the way. They don't see it as a problem until they hit rock bottom. So
Hmm.
sometimes in those spaces, you become a part of the problem or the problem because the person just isn't ready. And in the abusive situations, is to your point, we've normalized it. So this is how I function. And who are you to tell me that it's anything different? Although I know that you're coming from a place of safety, I know that you're coming from a place of love, but this is how I function. This is how I'm
Hmm.
willing to survive right now. So I can't come out of it because what's next?
Right. Okay.
all
It's
right,
the
and
unknown that's scary.
yeah, in the interest of time, because we we'll go all day. We will. So we're gonna touch quickly on reproductive abuse, coercion. So this form of abuse is not talked about a lot, but can you explain it? What it is? Cause I'm gonna tell you what I when I thought about reproductive coercion, what I thought about. I'm gonna tell you the first thing that popped up in my mind when I learned about this one. Keep them barefoot and
So
pregnant.
yeah, that's exactly what I thought too. So I had to
Yeah,
do some deep diving.
it's like when one person has control over the other person's reproductive system. So if I it can be either way. Either I don't want you on birth control pill because we're gonna have a whole bunch of kids, or I want you on birth control because we're not having any kids.
Mm.
Or
You
or
know, or it's like
the orange man in office who's saying, "Hey, you don't have rights to do what you need to do with your body."
exactly like orange face. Yeah, yeah, you don't have the right.
So sabotaging your contraceptives. You
Yeah.
don't have any, no decision in that. It's the orange man for me. I
It's the
I
orange.
I actually had to I
Yeah,
had to
it's the
really
orange
sit back and
man.
absorb it because I never really looked at it as a form, like, just connected it to a form of abuse. Um, but it's clear that anything you don't have control over could possibly be,
Anything you don't
or
have control
unwarranted
of. Exactly.
control.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all
So I
absolutely.
yeah, this little seed, because I really didn't connect it with abuse or think of it as it, just not something that you every day, think about every day.
Sometimes, well, speaking of somebody I know personally, in their cultural background, they are used